now the next thing would be, see, so what would be your advice to a beginner in the field of data science, like uh, who just want to get into this field? Like a lot is expected from them. They should be doing Kaggle, they should be writing blog posts, they should be doing, and you people are raising the bar for them, like posting this awesome data science articles on LinkedIn. So we are also forced to do that now. Uh, so like there are lots of things expected for a beginner. So is there any priority list that you will like if you would have started as a beginner now? What would be your priority list to for these things? Like which would have, you had done earlier, and then the next thing, and then do you have anything like that?
See, today, like people always follow the trends, right?
Yeah,
Now today, everybody is jumping onto data science.
yeah,
Um, so basically, everybody wants to do data science today. And when we talk about beginner, right? Actually, like the beginner word is like pretty generalized.
okay,
There are multiple aspects of the beginner. One is a guy who is just coming out of his college life, right? And he
mm,
wants to get into the data science field. He is just getting started and getting to know the industry, right? The second aspect is people who are already there in the industry. They are software
uh,
engineers who want to get into data science, right? The third
yeah,
aspect is people who are in the data space, right?
yeah,
I always regard software engineering and data engineering are two different things because
okay.
the concepts you deal with, right? There are data engineers who want
Somewhat,
to, who, yes, somewhat, see, like the software engineers are more application focused, data engineers are more data focused, right?
data focus.
And
Yeah,
and there's a blend of both that makes an project successful. It's not that data engineering can make projects,
mm,
but it's a blend of both. The
mm,
third aspect is data engineering, right, who are trying to get into this field. And
yes,
there's no one learning path because all comes with different expertise, right?
perfect
There's no one learning path that is common for all,
for
right?
all.
What I would say is like be focused, right? Understand your strength. That is the key, and
Okay,
then try to fill in the gaps,
yeah,
right? Now, if you're from the college, the education system is far better than today than what I was, right? The what when I was in college, people
yeah,
today from the college they are taught Python. What we were taught is like basic, which was absolute at that time itself, right?
okay,
Sorry.
yes,
So to get to know there are a lot of information. I think like Google and all the information was not prominent when we came out of college or others, right?
yeah,
Today there are a lot of information in the market available, so people are pretty much aware of it. Be focused, create your own learning path based on your strength. Don't try
okay,
to jump into all the area, reinforcement learning, deep learning, machine learning, right? Think what
yeah,
the industry wants, right? Industry may not be ready for reinforcement learning, right?
yes,
See where the job is. The jobs are typically in the machine learning. Deep learning is used, but it may be like 10% or 20% of the entire
yeah, very,
project.
very
Uh,
less, very
yeah,
less.
right.
Okay,
So build your capability in where the market focuses. You need to analyze the market focus because you may want to get into a specific industry or something like that, right? And
yeah,
try to like learn that aspect of it. And one more thing, right? What you learn today, you may forget it tomorrow or even the next week. It's a very
yes,
high possibility, right? Everybody does
yeah,
that. It's like a short term memory, right? LSTM can remember only some information until you create a gigantic network. It cannot go back
yeah,
and remember everything.
remember that, yeah,
uh, that is completely fine. What you need to learn is the concepts of mapping an algorithm to an use case, right? Tomorrow, if you are given a use case, your mind should see like, okay, what I can apply to it. Like if you are given an imbalanced data set, do I need to do an upsampling, or do I need to do a downsampling, or do I need to do an supervised learning, unsupervised learning, because I have very less negative classes? So that's what you need to try to map in. And you always have Google and Stack Overflow by you, so the syntaxes are fine. You don't have to memorize the syntaxes.
I
uh,
really love this point. So I also used to think in that way only. So and I really appreciate like you brought up this point. So this is very very good way to learn to go ahead also in your life. So every day we'll be getting lots and lots of problems or something like that if you're working into this field, and we learn lots of things like many algorithms and all those things. It is very hard to make any index of that and to remember each and everything very properly. So that's a very nice way. Like have a use case, attach that particular algorithm. Okay, whenever this thing will happen, like uh, the same thing. Imbalanced data set will come. I'll use smart in this case. I'll use upsampling in this case. I'll use downsampling in this case. That's a very good way. And when even in future when you have the data set at your end and you want to like that okay, this thing had happened, so I have to use smart, and you don't remember at that time how to like the syntax of that smart, you can always Stack Overflow that. So that's a very very perfect way to go for it.
Right, and even I don't remember the syntax for it. I don't think if with Google or Stack Overflow, without them I can survive.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah.
In fact, anybody.
Same here.
Right. And see, one more thing is, right, they also need to kind of understand, right, there's a huge supply and demand gap, right? Basically, there's huge supply of data scientists, aspiring data scientists. The demand
Yes.
is pretty low, right? And
Yeah.
uh, what is very important is your knowledge. Your knowledge is your currency to this particular market, right?
Yes.
That can only get you or land you a job. Now,
Hmm.
your resume is nothing but like when you give your resume to a company, it's like a needle in the haystack, right? It's very difficult to figure out
Yes.
your portfolio, right? It can be your GitHub portfolio, your blog post, your LinkedIn post, or even like your Kaggle competition rank, right? That is
Yes.
where you stand out. Basically, your needle will glow like a diamond, and recruiters will notice it, or the recruiting manager will notice it. So you need to make
Yeah.
your resume stand up, and you need to create a brand called you to do that, right? And
Yeah.
today there are a lot of channel available, frankly.
Exactly. And just to add a little point to that, so the thing that you have said about the Kaggle competition, so I really love that point. So if you see in the normal world, so how the athletes train themselves. So the basic motivation for them is that they have some general ranking for them, like one, two, three. Okay, he's a top batsman, he's a top runner, or something like that. So that pushes them to go for that, like to get the first position in that. So in that same way, this Kaggle is also like there. So though you won't get the same data set, that idealized data set at normally in your day-to-day life, but that mindset is needed, and learning the things in that way is needed, and that I think the ranking system is the best way to go for it, and I really like
And,
go
and,
with that.
and I will warn you also too much of Kaggle. See, the Kaggle data set that the company gives, right?
Ah,
They are given in a way that it's very algorithm focused. Not all talks
yeah,
about
yeah,
the
yeah,
complexity of the real world data, right? While you may be good at Kaggle, you
yes,
may not be a best of scientist in the industry, and you
yes,
may be a best of scientist in the industry. You may not be a Kaggle expert.
yes,
So you need to balance outside of Kaggle also. You need to understand the end-to-end machine learning pipeline. In
yes.
fact, like I have a blog post as well. Like the
Okay.
person who won a $1 million Netflix prize, the
Yeah,
model
yeah.
was never deployed into production
Never deployed.
because
Yeah,
Kaggle has concentrated about stacking, creating a complex model just for accuracy. But the
yeah.
industry is not like that. So you need to
Exactly.
balance everything. Hmm.
Perfect. So